All right, so before we actually get started with the episode with my wife and I wanted to backtrack a little bit because I've been thinking about this episode for a little while. We recorded this about a week and a half ago, so I've had a lot of time to kind of like just play with the ideas and things I want to do with the episode. But one of the things that stood out for me is there are two stories that some of you may believe and some of you may not believe. And I want to put it out there into the universe just to kind of show you some of the things that I see. Number one, this was before I met my wife. I met my wife April 7th, 2015. All right. April 7th, 2015. The story I'm telling you about, it took place sometime in 2013. So 2 years before I met my wife. At this one particular time, I started to do this drawing where I wanted to show a young black girl in a positive light, just being smart. I don't know what made me want to do that. I just wanted to create a drawing. I know what it was. It was a challenge. I had never drawn a black female person. So I said, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself to draw a black female young lady, probably in her, 19, 17-year-old in that time span. And I just want to show a black young lady in a positive light. Let me just show you the picture real quick. Here is the picture. And don't say nothing disrespectful. There go the smart is cool thing. So if you can't tell, she had an arm and the arm was like raised in the air. So she was basically raising her hand to answer a question. But this is the picture. Let me see if I can get it to look. There it is. So that's the picture right there. Right? And you'll see it says smart is cool. This was something I just really wanted to I wanted to challenge myself, this picture right here. Here's where it gets strange. And I want everybody to chime in because I've heard some people say they agree and I've heard some people say they disagree. But I drew that picture in 2013. I met my wife 2 years later in 2015. One day while my wife and I were like putting some things away, we stumbled across this picture. It was kind of just rumbled up in a little closet. And she said, "Wow, you drew me." And I was like, "Well, no, I didn't." And she pulled the picture. I was like, "What? That do look like you." I had to bring this up because I'm like, am I tripping? Right now, if you're in your car or you listen to me on a podcast, through headphones or something like that, you can't see the picture. So I encourage you to go to my YouTube and find this episode and just take a look at the picture that I just showed. And I need some feedback. Go to the comment section and tell me, does that look like my wife? That is something that just was bothering me. Like, I was like, dude, that's crazy. Like, if I'm wrong, then it's a coincidence. But if I'm right, I drew my wife 2 years before I met her. This ain't. The second crazy story, and in both situations involve art. The second crazy story. So after I met my wife, April 7th, 2015, we were dating. We would go out, wine and paints, and we just had a lot of fun. We wasn't even thinking about getting married. We just going on dates all the time, just going out and going to different countries and just having fun, just being us, right? So this one day on September 22nd, 2015, by that point, we had been dating for, do the math, but I'm just going to say about 5 to 6 months. We have been dating. So one night we went to painting, wine and paint, right? And we painted these pictures. And at the end of the wine and paint, I signed mine in the bottom right corner and she signed hers T Knox. My wife's name is Terri. But at the time, her last name was not Knox because we were not married. Let me just show you the picture real quick, so you just know I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. So this is the picture that we did on that wine and paint night. Look at the bottom right corner. T Knox. And it's dated 9/22/15. She signed it T Knox 9/22/15. And nobody thought nothing of it. It's just like, whatever, hey. Oh, actually, we did have a conversation about it. It was like, so I see you put Knox on it. And, like my wife always say, we was very open about wanting to be married at some point. We were very open about it. We didn't we were exclusive. So when she put T Knox, I was honored because it's like, this is a beautiful woman. She loves me as much as I love her. But here's the thing. 1 year later, to the day, on September 22nd, 2016, guess what happened? We got married. And guess what her name became? T Knox. All right. Now, you might be saying, well, of course, Y'all just planned it. She knew that she was going to become T Knox. That's why she signed to T Knox 1 year before. Nah. In fact, we were supposed to get married that year in 2015. But there was a huge issue that occurred. That's why she signed it. I think that's why she signed to T Knox, because we were supposed to get married that year in, like, I think it was October, right? And something had happened in October that stopped us from getting married. You know, you can imagine how upset she was, because she was really anticipating becoming a wife, my wife, T Knox. But something had happened. So we had to postpone the marriage to this random date until we figured out some things. Well, by some miracle, exactly 1 year from the day that she signed this painting, T Knox, she actually became T Knox. Worst case scenario, it is a complete coincidence. Best case scenario, my wife signed her name T Knox without knowing the exact date that she would become T Knox 1 year before she became T Knox. One day, she tapped me on the shoulder or something, and she was like, "Hey, babe, look at this date." I was like, "What? What?" Yeah, I said, it's 2/9. She's like, "You know when I signed this, right? When we went to wine and paint." I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." You know, I barely listen. She's like, well, that's before we got married." And I was like, "What? Before we got married? So what, you signed?" Oh, and then it's just like, "Oh, you signed that a year before we got married without knowing we were going to get married on that." It's so crazy, because it's not just that she signed her name as T Knox. That's one huge mind blow right there. It's that she signed it on the exact date 1 year prior before she became T Knox. We did not plan the marriage date on that day when that painting was done. We had no idea that the marriage would be postponed and that it would be another year from now. And we certainly didn't know it was going to be on that day. So I just wanted to share that with y'all before y'all watch this episode. And I am so sorry. I had to share that with y'all, because I know I don't know what that means. That's why I'm sharing it, because maybe you have more insight about it than I do. Whatever, man. Let's just jump into it.
Yeah, I used to roll backwoods, Rip the Dawn's good wherever he goes. 1 million and one flows, depositing dough. Said you down with the mafia family, let me know. Yeah, number one, I don't do number two. They watching how I do, because I'm really hood. Red hoodie, gold jewelry, too groovy, might lose me. Don't approach with the foolery. Keep the two on me, homie, you don't know me. Rip the Dawn, the one and only. Yeah.
Yo, welcome to the Really Hood Podcast, and I'm your host. I'm Richie Knox today because I have my beautiful wife with me. Usually I have my little hat on and my hoodie, but I gotta, clean up a little bit because today we'll be talking about marriage. We're gonna discuss marriage. I mean, first off, this idea came to me because my wife brought the idea up. Like, it's a lot going on out here in the dating world. And apparently, according to her and not me, y'all need there's some people that need some help out here. There's some people that's really struggling out here in this dating game, and we just wanted to just do a podcast episode on it. And I know it's a little different from what I usually do, but you know how it is, you got to switch it up. Let's talk about single life. We'll both kind of give you a perspective of what single life was for us, and we'll kind of go from there. So how was single life
on the side?
Yeah. This is
actually, it was pretty fun. I used to live in DC and date and do happy hours and things like that. But after the time, it got a little exhausting meeting new people all the time. So I met this guy on POF.
Yep.
And if anybody isn't online dating or doesn't particularly care for it, I would say try again, because you just never know.
Right. So my dating situation was a little different. I was actually in a situation where I was separating from my first marriage, and I know that's a sore topic, but I am past it, so I don't feel so bad talking about it. But very tough experience for anybody who's ever been through that. They understand it. For myself, I did not want to sit in the house, and you know how Usher was in that video where he was just in the bed. I didn't want to be like that guy, when he lost Chili. Remember that? Yeah. So I was like, I got to do something. Right. So I gotta do something. I cannot just sit in the house in the bed with my shirt off with a chain on in the bed. So I was like, you know what? So I did try to date a little bit, and like my wife said, I date around. It was fun, but it soon got played out a little bit, and it was like, I do need something more secure, because you just can't find that security when you have so many people running in and out of your life. So, like my wife said, we met on POF, which is a awesome site. I think that's a good way to segue into But that
was like, because we've been married for 5 years, and so then we'll like back it up. Like that was 6 years ago. So I don't know how great POF is anymore. Like I don't know what's out there now. Like, Match should still be out there. I don't know, but I mean, it worked for us. So.
Right. And I actually talked to somebody who was on POF lately, and they did not have good things about to say about it. But I don't know if that was just their experience. I personally think that POF is, I haven't been on it, but I can only imagine, because I heard bad stuff about POF when I was getting on it.
Actually, I did too. I heard it was a hookup site.
Exactly. And most likely it is. So but the thing about it is, you get what you want to get out of it. I got on POF, and honestly, I was just looking for company, because I was just in that space mentally. That's what I was looking for. So I do want to ask you this real quick, Terri. What do you feel about dating? What is the best way for a single woman to find a spouse, like a husband? We're this is the marriage episode, so we're not going to talk about how to hook up. We know how to do that. That's easy. But how does a woman find? It's not an interview, by the way. It feels like an interview. So like, how does a woman find? Because I can get on here and tell you what, from a male perspective, what a woman should do. But
I can't either, because it's just my perspective. But I mean, I just say like, continue. Try, like I said initially, like try again. Like if you meet someone, not just on these sites, or just meet someone in general, and doesn't work out for you, I would just say continue to shoot your shot, and like, just date and have fun with it. Like don't put a lot of stress. Don't stress yourself out. That's what I would say. Like just have fun, and it'll work itself out.
Were you looking for a husband, or were you just looking for a relationship?
It was just fun for me. But eventually I did want to settle down with someone. I actually didn't ever think I was gonna get married.
All right, so hold on. We have to take a break from this little episode. So let me ask you this though. Okay, so because I'm actually learning some things myself. You would think we have talked about this, but we don't. We don't sit in front of each other and just ask questions like an interview. But okay, so I do want to ask you this. Given that you were more or less trying to just have fun and enjoy just being single and being independent and things of that nature, what changed? Like, when we did meet, what kind of changed that?
What changed, because you're very serious. He's a very serious person. And when we initially started dating, we did have fun, but like he locked it down fast. Like within the first 2 weeks, he was like, you want to be official type of deal? I was like, okay, so like he was very, very serious, and I think that's what made me serious. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And here we are 5 years later. Two kids.
Listen, let me tell y'all the true story. I was always the coolest. I was always the cool one. When you came over my house the first time, who was cool?
No. He was very, very chill. He was chill, but what I'm saying is like he knows what he wants. And that's another thing I will say, like for single women, like don't let someone like, play around. Like you can be playing around for years or months, and if someone's like, oh, I want to be friends, like you got enough friends. Like I'm here to see what's going on with like us, like not to collect friends or be toyed with. So that was one thing. Like when I say you being serious, like Richie was like serious, like okay, like this is, I want to see where this is going. We want to date exclusively.
Right. So I want to go ahead and clarify another thing real quick, because if I remember correctly, she was the one who asked me to make it official, right? You on the phone? You ain't say like.
No. So
what are we? I feel like she said that, and I think she's just having like revisionist history.
I don't remember that.
You ain't say that?
I don't remember that.
So what happened then? Watch this. That's how you know. So when we became official, how did it happen? Watch.
You was like, we need to be official.
All right. Anyway. So yeah, she might be right. She might be wrong. So for myself, I knew that.
Oh, and let me tell you about the first date too. So, and I know this, you really shouldn't do this, go over people's house. Like, you should really screen people. But we like talked on the phone a lot before we met, and I went over his house and he made me tilapia fish and boxed mac and cheese and canned corn.
It worked. It worked. So it worked.
He's like one of the most, I'm gonna say, frugal,
smart
individuals I know.
Listen.
But we did go out on a real, well, not a real, I wouldn't say real date. We went out on a date outside of his house without the tilapia fish, but. That's why he was like wanted to lock it down, because he was like, I ain't doing all these days. I'm not spending all this.
So let me tell you the true story. She came over. Well, first off, we talked on the phone, and we agreed to have dinner at my house for whatever reason.
Well, no, we decided to do that because we talked a lot about wine.
Okay.
On during our calls, and you were like, oh, I like XYZ wine, and then you was like, well, why don't you bring over a bottle and I'll bring over a bottle and I'll have a bottle, and we can like just chat and share wine and so that. So it was like a love of wine,
right? So we agreed to, I said, I'll get my favorite wine, you get your favorite wine, and we'll kind of like see what the other's taste in wine is like. I would have to say I was smitten. Is that how you say it? I was smitten like right away. I was like, wow, she's very beautiful, and she's really cool, and she was mature. Now, to kind of segue back to my side, I knew I wanted to marry her immediately. And I know that sounds bad, but I did not make the boyfriend girlfriend thing official first. That was her. I'm just saying that when I first met her, I said I really like the way that she carries herself, because I'm a guy that I like women that carry themselves with respect, and that's because that is how that's how I was raised. My mother was the woman who set the bar for me. I never saw her, sleeping around with tons of guys, always with these different, she was always in a relationship. She was always working. For me, like, a respectful woman is kind of what I desire. And that's not to throw shade on anybody that's out there having fun, because I get that too. But for a wife, for me, that was like necessary. So when I saw her for the first time in person, I was like, okay, she's very mature, and she's, very beautiful, right? That's what happened. She brought the wine over. I had my wine. And for some reason, I was in this space where I was cooking a lot at home. I don't know why. So, and I don't like, and one thing I don't like, y'all, is that when she came over my house, she acted as if the tilapia was amazing. Like, ooh, this boxed mac and cheese is delicious. That's how she was acting. So now, years later, she told me it was terrible. So it's like,
I've been told you it was terrible.
Yeah, she told me every time outside of that day, the day that she was eating, what is this? Tilapia? So, that's what happened. And then, she started to drink and start to feel kind of good. And I was like, you can stay over. You remember?
Yes, I do.
And I want to clarify something real quick. When I said she could stay over, I had no intention of trying to do anything, because I don't know why. And I'm asking myself, like, why did I not try to? I just wasn't like trying to. I wasn't on that time. I think I had my share of dating around. I kind of already had done all that. So it's like, okay, I need more than that. I did offer her to stay. I was gonna let her sleep in my room, and I was gonna sleep on the couch.
That's very respectful.
Yeah, I try to be. And then after that, I think when you meet the right person, everybody that's been in a real serious relationship knows how this goes. That person leaves, and it's like, wow, I really need that person back. So I think from that point forth, we really started to get things you know, we became more and more serious. Would you say? Right. The next thing that I wanted to get into is how do you stay married? We are in a real relationship. I don't want to paint this as perfect. We have ups and downs. We have struggles. We have arguments at times. I mean, it's a real relationship. I don't want it to look like Christmas with the Neelys, where we up here smiling, giggling. It's real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we get in each other's grill. You know, she's military, so I gotta respect her at all times. Yeah, all right. She know how to handle a gun. She know how to fight. She can outrun me. She might, and I think can out push up me too, right? Yeah,
I can.
Yeah, I can. I think she can. Okay. So anyway, I gotta respect her on that level. But the point is, in your opinion, how do you sustain a marriage?
I think communication. I know communication. Being open to communicating with, and Richie is very transparent about the way he thinks about things, which I do find refreshing, because some men keep stuff in, and you can't do that, like, because no one can read your mind, and I'm hard at that. Like, I'll like have thinking all types of stuff in my head, then I'll blow up, right? So just communication is one, and then consistency. That's one thing I do love about him. He's so consistent. Like, I know where Richie's gonna be. I know what he's doing. He is very transparent and consistent. It's just refreshing, because like rarely met a lot of people like that. So
yeah, respect. And for me, honestly, I'm going to say the way that you sustain a marriage is, and not to sound cliche, but to make sure that you're always putting God first. And I think that's our secret recipe. If you break down the ingredients of our marriage and why we're still together, which is not easy to do. I think once you get to like 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, those are really important milestones in the marriage and very difficult to get to. And if you're asking me, I'm going to tell you that you have to have some sort of faith base at the center. For us, is God. You know, we put God, Christ, at the center of our marriage. We pray all the time, separately, together. And I believe that is the secret ingredients to our marriage. And that's just how I perceive it. Outside of that, my wife is, in a lot of ways, the polar opposite of me. As she's kind of alluded to, I'm more quiet and, you know, things of that nature. She's more, boisterous. She laughs a lot. So I'll say the second ingredient is allowing each other to be themselves. And this is something that I admittedly am still learning how to do. I like to be in charge. I'm a boss in my mind, and I like to have structure. However, you cannot control another person. And even the Bible supports a lot of this stuff in terms of the man being the head of the household. But still, that Bible always says, you know, treat your wife, you know, I don't know. What's that scripture, babe? Do you know it?
Talking about like your own body.
Yeah. And so, treat your wife like Christ loves the church, or something like that. I hate paraphrasing the Bible. I don't know the words exactly. But the point is, I think the second thing, at least that I'm still working on, is allowing my wife to be, you know, herself despite being in a marriage. Because whether it be the male or the female, if they can't be themselves in a relationship, it won't work. You might have the perfect vision of what you want your marriage to be, or whatever, or what your partner to be, but at the same time, you have to allow them to be themselves. And I think if you figure that out, sooner than later, I think you'll have success. I think I've even been in relationships where I felt like my partner was trying to mold me into something. And I think that is the wrong way to go. Now, that's not to say that you can't give suggestions. My wife has done that before, like, hey, are you eating this? So you can throw in those suggestions, but you have to ultimately allow them to make that decision for themselves. You know, I think that's important.
Agreed.
Now, obviously, once we had got into our marriage, got things going. Oh yeah, wait a minute. I gotta really pause for a second to say another very, very important thing that you must do, whether it be dating, before marriage, or in marriage, is to hold off on having children. And I don't want to get into this big, segment on this, because we've already been going for a while. But I will say that you have to enjoy each other. You know, when I do need that time to myself, I can go into my man cave and just kind of be me. And, my wife, she needs things that she has to do, whether it be
like, I love tread.
Right, yeah.
So I need to work out as a release.
Right. I think that if the two people can respect each other's individualities, I think it's a greater success of succeeding. But I was going to say that it's very important that you have fun before you bring children into the mix. Where did we go before we had our kids?
We went to Dominican. We got engaged in the Bahamas. We went to Mexico. We went to Seattle. We went to Buffalo, New York. That was fun. That was like our first year anniversary because we went to Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
We went to Canada.
Yeah.
Yep. That was that same trip. We went to Memphis.
Went to Detroit. Yeah.
Yes, we went to Detroit. We went to LA.
Yeah, we
had a good time. Well, we still have a good time. But we just have to figure out how to mix trips with the little ones.
Right. So the point being, enjoy each other before you bring kids in, because I would imagine that when you get married, there's a lot of pressure to have children. Hold off on that. Get about 2 to 3 years of just each other, because once you bring children in, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. You really have to find time to spend with each other. And if you do that, and I think we had, went on so many trips that we got to the point where we were like, okay, we need kids. Because we just was going a little bit everywhere. And I think we came to that point where like, okay, we got like
we've exhausted.
Yeah, we went on cruises and everything. So we wanted to bring children in. Yeah, for sure.
We still have a good time.
Yeah, but it's just
it's a different good time.
It's a different chapter. But before we wrap this beautiful episode up, my beautiful wife, I'm gonna go ahead and let you bounce to this track real quick. Your boy Rick the Don, got my hat on here. My boy Rick the Don. Let me stop. All right, but yeah, we're gonna check out this track, and then we're gonna come back and wrap this thing up.
What's this? You can get it. Cash money, homie, get it. I got it. You can get it. Who with it? You can get it. I got it. You can get it. Big rocket on me, get it. I got it. You can get it. Got nothing on me, get it. Who want it? You can get it. Cash money, homie, get it. I got it. You can get it. Hellraiser, demon slayer, no kidding be. Run up on me playing, they'll find you with a vicious beat. Almost caught a case last time I let them things go. I don't do breast to family. Now we know, semi-automatic, red laser like Kano. Detroit's finest, I survive volcanoes. What you know about selling music in a drought? Putting God first, weapon second when you leave the house. Hellraiser, who with it? You can get it. I got it. You can get it. Big rocket on me, get it. I got it. You can get it. Got nothing on me, get it. Who want it? You can get it. Cash money, homie, get it. I got it. You can get it. Who with it? You can get it. I got it. You can get it. Big rocket on me, get it. I got it. You can get it. Got nothing on me, get it. Who want it? You can get it. Cash money, homie, get it. I got it. You can get it. I solemnly swear this ain't a diss. But if you follow Satan, drink holy piss. Jump off a cliff, skydive off the moon to a fiery pit. Yeah, that's it. Laugh now, cry later, dark angel. We running it. This the part where you dance on them. Part where you lay some hands on them. Part where you dance on them. This the part where you lay hands on them. Is it me or do these doubles think I'm playing? No tears on my face, still down to do the race. Sold my soul to God, now I'm counting them Franklins. Type to stump you out while bumping Kirk Franklin. All these fake rappers messing up the game, no. You don't write your rhymes, you be calling up your man, no. No, we ain't cool, Rick the Don still lurking. One wrong move, you be under the surface. Hellraiser, who with it? You can get it. I got it, you can get it. Big rocket on me, get it. I got it, you can get it. Got nothing on me, get it. Who want it? You can get it. Cash money, homie, get it. I got it, you can get it. Who with it? You can get it. I got it, you can get it. Big rocket on me, get it. I got it, you can get it. Got nothing on me, get it. Who want it? You can get it. Cash money, homie, get it. I got it, you can get it. You can't kill a man that's in tune with God, cause when the flesh dies, the soul flies. Good luck, you trust in the king of lies. Besides, let's rumble. Tell Satan if I ever see him, trouble.
All right, folks, I hope y'all enjoyed that track. It's your main man, Rick the Don. Oh, Richie Knox, and my beautiful wife, Terri Knox. And any last words you would like to put in on dating, marriage, anything?
I just say have fun with it. Like,
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be stressful. Like, you have work, you have all these other stressors. Like, your relationship with your partner is supposed to be fun. So
Yeah, I would actually second that. I would say have fun. Have fun. I'm
having a ton of fun.
Yeah, me too. And you know, half of the fun is learning the other person, because you know yourself, but you have to make yourself gel with this other person. And that's, to me, I'm a person that enjoys challenge. So for me, that's very fun, just trying to understand this other person. You know she's great, or he or she could be great, but at the same time, you affect that greatness, and you have to allow it to bloom like a flower. You know, you can't smother it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta allow it to bloom. And we're gonna do this again. This is a great first start, but I want to keep this going because I think people need to see black love, black marriage, if you will, and see it succeeding. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we have a lot of those examples out there. With that being said, thank you all for listening and watching, and we'll holler at you on the next one. Peace.